welcome to Kaya's Commentary, where I give my commentary on pop culture topics, real world issues, anything in between, and maybe even some advice every now and then. Before we get down to it, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at kaya.r.pennington, and you can follow Kaya's Commentary on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Kaya's Commentary. Also, be sure to hit the follow/subscribe button, and if you're on YouTube, click the notification bell so you get notified when new videos drop. Now let's kick off the show with What's on the News, where I give my commentary on something I've seen trending on the news. Today's topic, the potential banning of TikTok. So this has been a conversation ever since 2020 and Trump's administration, and personally, I really feel like it started to hone in for most Elephant Party members when Gen Z and maybe even Alpha 2 catfish Trump into thinking that he was going to have a lot of people at one of his rallies using TikTok, and then when he didn't, it was an all-out war on TikTok. Now, yes, that happened a little into his administration, but personally, I think that's what really started it. And I know Biden is pushing for it now. This was a bipartisan agreement. They came together to ban TikTok, both Democrats and Republicans, but my question is why? Why ban TikTok? Now, the allegation is that the Chinese government is using TikTok to gain data on Americans. And yes, that's scary. I don't want a foreign government to have my information. It's not like I'm doing anything bad on the internet, but as a foreign agency, foreign government, why do you need that information? The U.S. agency collects that stuff for terroristic reasons and dangerous reasons and stuff like that. Why do you need that? But also, in that same breath, I don't want the U.S. government to have much data. Again, I know why they track our stuff, but companies in the U.S. sell our data too. Facebook sells stuff, Twitter sells stuff. You could be talking about, I don't know, going to Disneyland, and then with your phone off, and then all of a sudden you got ads for Disneyland. Come on now. I was talking to my friend a few weeks ago, and she was telling me she was getting calls from Germany and Paris. Why? Because someone in the U.S. sold her number there. All those collectors warranties on your cars and stuff is people are selling your information here in the U.S. So I don't think that's a reasonable allegation, because it's y'all do it too. And maybe that's why y'all mad, because it's allegedly they're not doing anything that y'all couldn't or wouldn't do. Allegedly. It's just that they're a foreign government. So this is how I knew stuff got real. The CEO of TikTok came on TikTok and was like, hey, I'm the CEO of TikTok. I'm here in Washington, D.C. for a congressional hearing. And it's oh, this is real. Oh, okay. And so basically what he said in his video, he was like, people use TikTok for all kind of reasons, for educational purposes, business purposes, and hey, most of the people using TikTok are the generation that gets to vote now. Okay. And so that's how I knew it got real. And then he got to the congressional hearing, and it was awful. It was awful. These people had already made up their minds. They would not let him talk. They tried to have gotcha moments. They were asking him ridiculous questions. And I just felt so bad for the CEO, because it's to me anyway, it looked like he thought he was coming there to really defend his app and be let's see if we can work something out. And they were just talking over him. They wouldn't let him speak. Somebody asked, these are along the lines, some of the questions they asked him. Does TikTok connect to Wi-Fi? What? So if I'm at home and I'm using my Wi-Fi at home, does TikTok connect to that Wi-Fi? Like any app that needs internet, yeah. But maybe what you're asking is a technical question, so let me get back to you. Yeah, get back to me, because I would love to know that answer. What? Does TikTok scan our faces? Are they spying on us? And this guy's from Singapore, right? They kept calling him a communist Chinese spy, and it's whoa, Singapore is in Southeast Asia, but whoa, racist much? Somebody said, look at me when I'm talking to you, Mr. Cho, which, like, whoa, with that energy that's given, look at me when I'm talking to you, boy. Like, really? Anyway, somebody else asked, does TikTok scan our faces? Does it access our camera? Yeah, to use videos. I mean, but we don't really like scan faces or whatever unless you have a filter, like a sunglass filter, and you know, you're scanning your eyes for the pupil. Oh, that's creepy. That's creepy. Why do you need to know where our eyes are? Like, why do you need to know? You're trying to spy on us, like dilated eyes or something? Like, why do you need? Because it's a sunglass filter, and we need to know where your face is. Another congressman asked him, how many children have died from doing TikTok challenges? And this is why I really started to get pissed, because that was a talking point for them. We're doing this for our kids. We need to protect our children. You know, I can't give you a statistical number on how many people have died during TikTok challenges. You know what I can give you a statistical number on? How many children have died due to gun violence, which is like the highest form of death in America. Like, but we don't want to talk about gun reform. Y'all don't care about those kids. Y'all don't care if those kids see first grade. You know how I know y'all don't care? Because these are the same people who are sitting stoic, stone-faced, when the parents of the Uvalde school shooting were begging them for gun reform, and they just sat there. They just sat there with that, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Like, really? Y'all don't care about those kids. Y'all don't. It really aggravates me. Y'all care more about kids playing with guns on a game, on a video game, than y'all do in real life. Be so for real. You do not care about those kids. Another one was like, you know damn well TikTok is da-da-da-da, and it's like, whoa. See, me personally, that CEO is so much better than me, because me personally, at this point, look, I haven't cussed at you. Please don't cuss at me. If we want to have that kind of language, we can, but please don't cuss at me, because I didn't cuss at you. Like, seriously. Another one was like, you said because in his opening statement, he was like, we will protect American data like a firewall from Chinese government and all of that. And this was a Democratic person, I think. And they were like, I don't believe that. I don't know if they called it malarkey or ridiculous or something, but they said something along those lines. It's like, y'all already made up y'all minds. And then another person was like, I know people are going to think we're just dinosaurs who don't understand technology. You don't. You didn't have this technology when you were coming up. You didn't even have this technology when you were like starting out your political career. And now you want to sit here and talk to somebody who like built an app about that technology when you don't even know anything about. Does it connect to the Wi-Fi? That was a gotcha moment that they were trying to have, but in turn made you look so freaking stupid, bro. Honestly. And so I just felt so sorry for that guy, because they had already made up their minds. There was no need for him to be there. To me, it came off like he thought he was gonna like answer some real questions and try to figure out the best way to keep the app going here and come to some type of agreement. But they had already made up their minds. So TikTok may very well get banned. But it's like, you know how much crap I can go find on Twitter? Videos of dead bodies, soft porn, all that. Where's this conversation about Twitter? Instagram with the sex bots. Do you know how often I am flooded with sex bots? And one time I put on my story at Instagram, stop the sex bots, and I got even more flooded. Like Snapchat, older people on Snapchat, because you know Snapchat is really like a young person's app. You got all these old creepy people on Snapchat trying to get at young people. Facebook sells information and all this type of misinformation. Where's this conversation? Because logically, if that's y'all's concern, selling data, it needs to happen for all social medias. TikTok, like any other social media, has its downsides. Me personally, I get aggravated with TikTok every time they mute one of my videos because the sound exceeds the limit. But it doesn't. And the sound, in fact, came from TikTok. But on the other side, it has a positive side like any other social media app. Personally, on my podcast here, I get more engagement from TikTok than I do from any other platform. Using the same hashtags, I get more engagement and views from TikTok, which y'all go follow my socials. both mine and Kaya's commentary. But go follow my socials, Instagram and Twitter too, and TikTok. But yeah, I get more engagement from TikTok than I do anywhere else, as far as like content, like trivias and all that other stuff that I do just to keep my channel alive and interesting, right? And so this is like a conspiracy theory, I would say, but it's really a logical one. So I probably shouldn't say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. A lot of people have been talking about this is Meta's doing, because Meta thinks that once they get TikTok out of the way, people are gonna go back to Instagram and Facebook, and it's like, no. Now, Facebook really is for like baby boomers. Like, yeah, there are some younger people still on Facebook, but it's really like baby boomers and family stuff. Instagram is millennial and young Gen Z. Twitter is for anybody who kind of just wants to come and rant, but like just rant. Snapchat is for young people. TikTok is really where it all comes together. And oftentimes you find a lot of information on TikTok, and that's another talking point that people are like, y'all don't like that people are talking information on this app. Because ironically enough, all the misinformation and the gotcha moments that they were spreading in that congressional hearing, you got people on TikTok coming to TikTok being like, actually, this is the real information. That's what y'all hate. There it is. Like, I don't think we should ban TikTok. You have a lot of people getting their start off TikTok. Yeah, you got mediocre people getting their start off TikTok, but also you have a lot of genuinely talented people, dancers, content creators, podcasts, all this stuff getting their start off TikTok. Businesses, books. People are reading more books on TikTok because of Book Talk, which I ain't even gonna lie. Book Talk might be a dangerous thing, because some of them books on there, I don't take book recommendations online, but anyway, it's still beneficial. I don't think we should ban TikTok. I think this is ridiculous that this is the way y'all bipartisanly come together. Not gun reform, not the housing issues, not even kids having to pay for school lunch even though they're required to go to school. TikTok. The banning of TikTok. Be so for real. If you can't be anything else, be so for real. I don't think TikTok should be banned, and I think you guys are stupid. You're dinosaurs who don't know anything about technology, and you really just showed the entire world how stupid you are. And with that, let's kick into our next segment, What's on TV, where I give my commentary on a TV show I've seen. Today's show, You Season 4. So this will contain spoilers. I will put a timestamp on the screen where you need to skip to so that you don't get spoiled. But it came out, Netflix split it into two parts. So the first part aired in like early February, and it was a whodunit. And then the second part aired early March, and it was just finishing up everything that happened in part 1. So let's get into it. So Joe kills Love Quinn, and he follows, I don't know if her name is Marion or Marion. And I want to say Marion because of the Music Man reference, not a librarian, Marion. So I'm gonna call her Marion. So he follows Marion to Paris, and he finds her, and she's like, "Yo, you're insane. I don't want you anywhere near me. I just want to be with my daughter. She's with a friend right now, but she's expecting me back." And he's like, "I don't want to hurt you. I thought you'd be happy to see me." Yeah, until I figured out how crazy you were. If you're here, that means Love's not. That means you killed Love. You chopped off your foot to do it, your toe to do it. And then because Love told her about all the other stuff that he's done, she's like, "You killed my husband. Like, you're insane. I just want to go with my kid." And so Joe was like, "Okay, leave. To show you that I'm a different person, you can leave." So Love Quinn's family hires a private investigator. He finds Joe, and he's like, or not really a private investigator, maybe like an assassin. But he's like, "I don't want to kill you, right? I just want to retire. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of money. I'm going to set you up in London as Jonathan Moore. The only thing you need to do is you need to go kill Miriam because she's the only one who knows your secret. Send me proof that you've done that, and then I'll give you the money and identity. You can go to London." So Joe finds Marion at the train station. He takes her necklace and then sends that as proof that he killed Marion. And then he gets the money. He goes to London. So there are new characters. There's Malcolm, Gemma, Kate, Phoebe, who else? Simon and Sophia, Roland, Reese, and 2 more people, like Connie and some black heiress, that really their characters are there to just emphasize that rich people suck, right? So Malcolm helps Jonathan, Joe, get a job at a college that he teaches at. There's also Nadia. I might mess up and call her Nadine. I don't know why I want to call her Nadine. Her name is Nadia. So if I say Nadine, I mean Nadia. So Joe gets a teaching job and it's all good. And then Malcolm invites him to party with his rich friends. And he's like, I don't know. But he goes out anyway. They drug Joe. So Joe can't even remember half that night. He wakes up in the morning at home. Malcolm did get him home. So he wakes up in the morning at home and Malcolm is dead on his table. And he's like, who did this? Did I do this? No, I didn't do this. Who did this? And so Malcolm and Kate were in a relationship. So Kate reports his body missing. The police are looking, but they won't find Malcolm because Joe chopped up his body parts and threw it all over the country. So they won't find his body. Shortly after that, Simon gets killed and his ear gets chopped off. And so Joe's like, oh, there's an Eat the Rich killer out there and he's targeting y'all. I need to keep y'all safe, or at the very least I need to keep Kate safe. So for some reason he starts to low-key obsessing over Kate, but not in like the way he does. He starts getting messages from somebody who knows that it's actually him, that it's actually Joe, and is like threatening him, and they're like threatening. And so he's like, okay, I don't really like Kate. She's kind of mean, she's kind of horrid, but let's try to keep her alive, right? So they end up going to Phoebe's, who's the most sympathetic, most tolerable of the rich people, and Adam is Phoebe's boyfriend. So they go to Phoebe's estate and they chill there, they party there. Joe is still trying to figure out who's texting him and what's happening. And so along the lines, stuff happens and Gemma was like, oh, you might be the Eat the Rich killer. People started dying when you came around. So Gemma ends up dead. And so Joe was like, I didn't do this. Kate finds Gemma's body and she's like, I didn't do it either, but she was in my room. Let's hide her body. Then Roland, who has an obsession with Kate, finds out and is like, this is the Eat the Rich killer. We're going to kill him. I'm going to take him into the woods. And so Joe's running for his life in the woods. They both get attacked. They wake up Joe wakes up in a dungeon at the estate. And we find out that it's Reese. So Reese and Joe have a similar background in that they had a impoverished childhood and both kind of came up anyway. And so Reese is running for mayor too. And so he's like, we got a lot in common. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to kill Roland and you're going to blame the murders on him. And then he comes back to find Joe trying to escape. And he's like, see, I thought we had something, but we didn't. So I'm going to kill you too. So he knocks over a fire and the dungeon gets like on fire. Roland wakes up. They slip out of their chains. Kate helps them escape the dungeon. And that's really kind of part 1, right? There's some added stuff in there, like Adam, Phoebe's boyfriend. For some reason, he thinks he's beneath her. He has a golden shower fetish, and so he'll have servants golden shower him. And so when Phoebe tried to do that, because she was like, I love you, I want to do this to make us work, so if this is what makes it work, okay. He's like, it's not working because it's just not. And she's like, you think you're beneath me? Why do you think you're beneath me? But you can see that they actually like each other, right? Like they're in love, right? That's part 1. We get to part 2, and Kate and Jonathan have gotten closer. Jonathan and Joe have gotten closer. They're in a relationship. Well, they try to be in a relationship, but Joe is like, no, until I figure out who is stalking me, I can't do it. So he leaves Kate alone for the moment being. Phoebe has terrible PTSD from like her friends getting killed, her estate getting burned, the Eat the Rich killer. So she's like suffering not total psychotic breaks, but PTSD. Kate is like, let's get you some help. It's totally fine. But then Adam comes in, and now Adam is broke. He lost all his money. And so he ends up being like a really horrible person. And it's so wild because it's like a complete 180. He was a jerk in part 1. He was still a rich jerk in part 1. But then but he still loved her, right? Part 2 comes, and it's just like he's just using her for her money. He doesn't take her to the facility like Kate had planned. He proposes to her, they get married, he takes her money, and then locks her up in a psychiatric hospital. So Kate complains to her father about this. Now, Kate has been trying to stay away from her father because her father's really influential tycoon. And so when she was like 19, she gave a whole bunch of kids cancer under her father's orders and then couldn't live with it. So she ran away to London. Here's my thing about her father. I don't know if they were London born and then went to the States and then she returned to London, or if they were States born and then she went to London. But Kate has a very heavy, not Cockney, but very heavy London accent, right? And her dad has a very Western, white male, capitalistic voice, right? That's just weird to me. Like, something's not connecting here. Anyway, so she tries to stay away from her dad, but her dad comes to visit and is like, I want you to take over this, my business, right? And she's like, no, I don't want anything to do with you. He's like, but you already have everything to do with me. Every achievement that you've gotten here is because I gave it to you. I left you alone and let you think that you got it on your own, but you didn't. And so now I'm tired of playing the game. I need you to help me run my company because I want you there. And she's like, you like an investment. You don't even love me. He's like, I still need you there. So she tells her dad about Adam, and then he has Adam killed. And she's like, what did you do? And that's where she finds out that he was still a very big part of her life. So in part 2, here's another thing that we find out, a really big thing that we find out. Reese has kidnapped Marion and has hidden her away somewhere. And so he's like, if you don't kill Kate's dad, because Kate and Reese have this, not Kate and Reese, but Kate's dad and Reese have this competition or something. I don't know. They're in each other's way. And so he's like, you're going to kill Tom, the dad. And if you don't, I'll kill Marion. And so Tom is like, you could kill me or you could kill Reese. I know where he went. Here you go. So Joe goes to Reese and he's like, tell me where Miriam is. And he's like, I've never heard that name before. I don't know you. What is happening? And so Joe accidentally kills him. He tortures him and then he accidentally kills him. And then a manifestation of Reese comes up and he's like, he was telling the truth. He didn't know you. But Miriam is locked away. And then we find out Joe has had a psychotic break. That was a good twist. I ain't even gonna lie. That was a good twist. Joe has had a psychotic break. He actually did not let Miriam go. He drugged her and he took her to one of his famous boxes in a dungeon somewhere, or basement somewhere. And he's been keeping her there. And then he just randomly stopped feeding her. So he doesn't even remember where she is. So he's trying to find his way through there. Another thing to note is that when part 2 starts, so Nadia, see, I told you I was gonna do it. Nadia has a decent relationship with Joe. She's a writer, and so when we were in part 1 with the whodunit, she was helping him with that. She was like, well, if you're writing a whodunit, it's actually like a really kind of fun formula, but your first victim or your first suspect is always your second victim, right? So she was helping him out. And then we get to part 2, and she noticed he has all these rich friends, and one of those friends is Phoebe, and she's a fan of Phoebe, and so she's like, can you introduce me? He was like, yeah, maybe later. So Phoebe had a stalker herself, and she momentarily took her hostage to quote-unquote protect her. So Joe comes in and kind of saves her, and so Nadia is eavesdropping, and she hears Phoebe say the hero again. And so Nadia is now talking to her boyfriend. It's like, don't you find it weird? What does she mean by the hero again? Don't you find it weird that this professor has all these rich friends and stuff? It's weird. Which, not weird enough to start digging into him, but okay. So Nadia finds Miriam, and Miriam tells her who Joe is, and they're like, let's come up with a plan. So the only way to get him out the way, to keep him from coming back to look for you, is if he's dead. Miriam was like, I'll kill him. And Nadia was like, okay, but let's go for a second plan just in case. What if we fake your death? So they fake Miriam's death. Joe finally finds her, and after a little conversing, they fake her death and they get her out of there. Joe dumps her body at a park on a bench or whatever. They fake her death. Nadia revives her, and then Miriam is clean. She's gone. But Nadia continues to look into it. Again, this really wasn't something that was her business to be looking into like that, but I can appreciate it because I thought she was going to be the one to catch Joe, right? So Joe is struggling with his inner darkness. That's what this manifestation of Reese is, his inner darkness. And so he's getting very suicidal about it, right? So he, in one of his final acts, he kills Tom, Kate's dad, because Tom was really kind of trying to set him up. So he killed Reese's body, and they did find DNA on the body, but they hadn't tested it yet. So he kills Tom, and then he goes to a bridge. He throws the manifestation of his darkness off the bridge and then jumps. And you think that's going to be the end. But it's not, because a patrolling boat finds his body, and they're able to revive him and take him to the hospital. And Kate comes in. It was like, did you jump or did you fall? He was like, if we're going to do this, we got to do it right. Let me be honest. I jumped. My name is Joe. Here's the horrible things I've done. So on Nadia's side, she and her boyfriend are looking for, they're looking in Joe's apartment, because if he's obsessive, he has to have kept something, right? So this season, the whole point that the darkness is a manifestation of Reese is that he became obsessed with Reese. He started doing all this keeping of Reese stuff because they had a similar background, so he took interest in it. And so Nadia finds the box and is like, okay, let me call my boyfriend. So he's supposed to be the getaway driver. She's looking for him. And then she finds his dead body. And Joe comes up and is like, what's up, girl? How you doing? I don't want to kill you. I want you to live a long, happy life. You're a good person. But let's delete these pictures off your phone. Here, take this bloody knife that you used to stab your boyfriend. Let me tell you why you stabbed him, because there are going to be a box of Reese things in your apartment, but you're going to say you found them at your boyfriend's apartment, which, why not just put them in her boyfriend's apartment? But, okay. They're going to be in your apartment, but you're going to tell the police that you found them at your boyfriend's apartment. He was obsessed with Reese. He was the Eat the Rich killer, and you killed him in self-defense. Nadia, in shock, doesn't say any of that when the police come, and so she's rotting in jail. And Kate, she knows all about Joe now, and so PR team, she wipes it all away. He gets to go back to being Joe Goldberg because of her PR team, and so they have this, here's how I just barely survived love Quinn. He's coming to terms with his darkness, and he's a supportive boyfriend to Kate, and that's the show. My commentary on You Season 4, here it goes. I'm frustrated. I am really frustrated with this show because it seems like it's getting lost on the writers that we're not supposed to root for Joe. Joe doesn't get a happy ending. He does not get a happy ending, and we're not supposed to root for him. The actor himself is like, hey, this dude's weird. Don't root for him. Don't root for him. He's creep. He's creep. He's creep. And yet you have the writing, him always getting away with it. Always. And honestly, and I could be wrong, but this felt like a series finale. It really kind of did feel like a series finale. I don't know if they're going to do a season 5, but it really did feel like a series finale. And it's like, this could have very well been the season he got caught. It could have been Nadia. Nadia could have taken down by a student, an aspiring writer. Like, instead, she's rotting in jail, which I really don't like. Like, again, I don't know why she just dug so much, but now she's rotting in jail. And it's like, this season actually could have been season 1 or even season 2. So Miriam, he thinks she's dead. And while she has no intentions of getting him dead to right like Candace did, she could. Nadia, her boyfriend's dad is a journalist. All she got to do is call him up and be like, hey, I'm gonna plant some seeds of doubt in your mind so you don't think I killed your son like everyone is saying. You go do the research and let's see what you come up with. Kate, which I don't really like Kate. They really hone in that Kate is emotionally stunted, for lack of better words. Her mother honed in, don't cry, don't show emotion, any of any kind, just be stoic. And so, yeah, we see her being happy with Joe, but we also see that she has issue taking compliments and that showing any type of emotion, right? And so that's all I see. They really kind of drilled it in. And so it's like dull, emotionless Kate. That's all I see. Did not care for Kate as a character. Just didn't. Anyway, she's on the same level with Love, on some levels anyway. So they're both rich, although Kate is arguably richer and has more influence. They're both rich. They're both okay with Joe being crazy. And yet that didn't click on Joe. Ugh, there's a piece of hair in my eye. But that didn't click on Joe, right? So I would say that Kate is Love. She's a little quote unquote less crazy, but she is Love, right? And you could say that, oh, Joe wasn't ready to come to terms with his dark side when he was with Love, and Love kept killing people. But Love is Joe. Love is Joe. She is the female version of him, and he couldn't handle it. That's it. He was at terms with his dark side. This is a cycle. This whole season beat in that this is a cycle for him. So eventually he's gonna do the same thing to Kate. I don't know why that's not dawning on her, but like, it's a cycle. He's gonna do the same thing to her. You know, there is a scene where he's having his psychotic break and he's hallucinating. They bring Love back. They bring Beck back, and then they have Gemma there. And it's like, I really like this scene. I really did. And it just reminded me that this show started off as something else entirely, right? Because I started this season, I started this show thinking, okay, he's gonna get caught by season 1. Oh, he didn't? Dang, okay, let's see how he do in California. Oh, she knows about it? Oh, okay, let's see how far they go. Oh, he kills her because she's so much like him? Like, all I know is that this show, that hallucination just reminded me that this show started off as something else, and that it probably would still be more interesting if it was just 1 or 2 of those women still in the show. Because part 1 was really kind of boring for me. I like a whodunit, but it was really kind of boring for me. Part 2 did throw me. It did throw me in a good way, yes. But ultimately, I'm sick of Joe getting away with it. And like, what are you trying to say? That the white male finds the girl with power or whatever, or just uses his white power and eventually just always gets away with it? Because if you're saying that, you could have done that with Adam. You could have done that with Adam. Like, I'm tired. I am tired of Joe getting away with it. Like, I don't know if they're going to do a season 5. If they do, it'll be a hate watch for me. But Joe needs to be captured. He needs to be caught by the authorities and then gang shanked in prison. Like, he could have died this season. Not to say that suicide is the coward's way out, or selfish or whatever, or easy or whatever. But for Joe it was. And while I don't think he should have died by a suicide, he still should have died. So if there is another season, it would be a hate watch for me, and I'm just watching this to see if Joe will finally get his comeuppance. Because this is insane. This is insane that after he's still kicking. He still gets happy. This is a cycle. You honed in that this is a cycle. The only way that cycle ends is if he ends. Why are we dragging out his ending? Come on now. I'm sorry. I'm not impressed. I'm very frustrated. I'm very aggravated. It feels like the writers have forgotten that we're not supposed to root for Joe. Honestly. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I would give this season 7.5 out of 10. It's frustrating. I need Joe to get his comeuppance by now. It's frustrating. But with that, let's kick into our next segment, Book Aggravations, where I give my commentary on something that happens in a book or trope or whatever that just aggravates me. Today's aggravation: getting married or engaged or with your family's ex, right? So let's say it's 2 sisters, and the sister has a boyfriend, and she breaks up with him because he was cheating with her sister. And then they proceed to get married, engaged and married, and then invite her to the wedding. And then she goes. And it, like, how this trope always starts off is that So it'll start off as a way for the protagonist to meet a new love interest, but it always start off with, I need a date for this wedding, so they don't think that I'm not over this because I am over it. Then why are you going? Like, you're not over it, and that's okay. Your ex cheated on you with your sister, your brother, your aunt, your cousin, your family, and then got engaged to them, and then invited you to the wedding. Didn't even have the decency to elope, because everybody in your family knows that this person used to be dating your sister, your brother, your whatever, your family member, right? And now you're getting engaged and marrying them, and we're just supposed to sit here and be like, that's normal. That's not at all, like we're all happy. Then you got the decency to elope. Like, you're not okay. You're not okay with that. Why are you trying to find a wedding to go to that you don't even want to go to? I can't express to y'all how much this aggravates me, because why? Me personally, if you invite me to your wedding and like you cheated on me with this person, my family member or whatever, and then y'all invite me to the wedding thinking I'm not gonna act a fool? Not because I'm like not over it. I may be over it, but it's the audacity of you thinking that I was just gonna show up and be a pleasant person. Be for real. Be so for real. These protagonists be so better to me, because like, you're not over it. Why are you going to this wedding you don't want to go to? What they did to you was dirty. What they did to you was dirty. You have no obligation to go. Your family should understand why you're not there. Half your family shouldn't even be there. Like, I can't tell y'all how much this aggravates me, but it aggravates me beyond explanation. Like, why are you going to this wedding you don't want to go? Why? All the tropes that y'all could do to get the protagonist a love interest, and y'all choose this. This is right up there with the surprise baby. I hate that trope, because it's like a one night stand and then they come together over a baby. Like, there's no chemistry there. That baby just brought them there. Like, that's a whole other topic, but like, it's right up there with it. You're not okay with it. You shouldn't have to go. You shouldn't be like, oh, let me find a date to show you how over I. You're not, and that's okay. Me personally, I would act a complete fool. You're not gonna invite me to this event thinking I'm just gonna be pleasant, whether I'm over it or not. And most times I might even be over it, but it's like, you thought I was gonna sit here and let you take cute photos? Where y'all gonna have security escorting me out? That's all I'm saying. It's stupid to me. But with that, that's my book aggravation. Let's kick it into our next segment, Unpopular Opinions, where I give my commentary on an unpopular opinion I have. Today's unpopular opinion, white feminism. Yeah, I talked about this a little in my last episode, but after the whole Angela Bassett, Jamie Lee Curtis thing, it just honed in on me that white feminism, they're in a whole other category, right? Like a whole other category. And I can't stand white feminists. I said it. I cannot stand white feminists. You know why? Because oftentimes you're not fighting for all women. You're fighting for white women and the power that white women have. Because flip the script. If Jamie Lee Curtis had sat there stone-faced, or just had her moment of damn, all right, but congratulations, y'all would have said that is so girl boss, she's defying everything, total power move. Like, and then it's a whole TikTok trend about white woman rage with some type of sound, and all I think of is just that if black women or women of color were doing the same thing, y'all will call them petulant childs, y'all will call them ungraceful, y'all will call them sore losers. I hate white feminists. I said it. Now, of course, not all white feminists, but for the most part, white feminists. I hate them. I cannot stand them. I remember I had a feminist class, and the professor asked, is anyone in here not a feminist? I said, I'm not a feminist. And I really wish I could have thought of this example when I was in that class, because I know the rest of them students walked out thinking that I just hated white women. And I don't hate white women, but like, I couldn't eloquently explain why there's something about white feminism that is just like ick. You don't fight for all women. I was having a conversation about about this with my friend, and she summed it up for me. Like, white feminism, it's like a competition. right? So you could be like, as a black woman, oh, I am so tired. Then you have a white feminist, oh girl, I am even more tired than you. Yeah, I know all about being tired. Black woman, yeah, I'm working on like 4 hours of sleep. Girl, I am working on 2.5 hours of sleep and coffee. Like, I know, like they turn it into a competition. And oftentimes that's what it is. As a black woman or a woman of color, we're not allowed to have emotions or moments of rage or sadness or anything, because you should be supporting your, especially if it's a white woman involved, and you should be supporting your fellow woman. I just don't understand how you can't support your fellow woman. Like, white feminists are on an entirely different level, and I don't support white feminists. I don't even support all women. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even support all women. And on not supporting all women, that's for pick-me's and whatever, because like it's not even just a race thing there, because there are some black and people of color pick-me's, and there are some black and women of color people that just support the male hierarchy, right? And it's like, I don't support y'all. I don't support y'all. But like, white feminine, you don't support all women. You support white women and the power that you have as white women. Because as white women, you're still up there. You might not be up the ladder like white men are, but you're still up there as far as like in the women's league, right? And the fact that a lot of y'all won't even address that because, oh, we're women. We're all women. We all face the same problems. No, we don't. No, we don't. Not when, as a black woman, apparently can't even have a few seconds to compose myself on screen, or my doctor is sitting here telling me, oh, you don't need an x-ray, you're fine, because black women can handle more pain than white women or any other woman. Like, we're not the same. Yes, we share a sisterhood and like being women, but as far as the different levels of trials and tribulations we face, they're different. And half the time white feminists don't even want to address that, because they'd have to address their own power in it and don't want to, because they want to keep it. Like, I can't stand white feminists because they try to gaslight us, right? You should support all women because we're all women and we have the same pain. And you're not shows that you're not a feminist. You don't care about women. I'm not a feminist, and I don't care about most women if this is how you're gonna act. It's like there's the intersexuality gets ignored, right? There's an intersexuality, not intersexuality, and so intersection, right? And so like black people, right? As black people, we face different levels of trials and tribulations. A black queer person does not face the same trials and tribulations as a straight black male, right? Because oftentimes straight black males are furthering the white patriarch, right? Oftentimes, not most time, not all the time, but you know. But they don't want to acknowledge that. It's the same freaking thing. Like, y'all are so purposely obtuse and gaslighting, and just think that I'm supposed to sit here and support you because I'm a woman and you're a woman, and the males who keep us down are the ones we should be fighting against. The white women who keep us down should also be fought against, you know. That intersection that you want to ignore, it's there. White feminists ignore that and then try to gaslight us and then keep us from having like women, like our rage moments. And it sucks. I hate white feminists. I cannot stand y'all. Cannot freaking stand them. I hate them. I'm sorry. Like, sorry, not sorry. And of course, not all white feminists, but like a lot. Because y'all don't fight for all women. You fight for your womanhood and your power and your ability to keep your power as a white woman. And until you unlearn that, you acknowledge and unlearn that, we will always have like a different level. And I'm gonna stay in my black womanhood as opposed to like feminism. No, can't do it. But that's just an unpopular opinion that I have. And that's Kaya's commentary. If you like this episode or give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe/follow button, leave a comment down below, let me know any of your thoughts, be respectful, but certainly let me know any of your thoughts and opinions on any of the segments that I had. And with that, I'll see you next week.